Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Takedown, a Splitting Hairs podcast brought to you by Jackrabbit Illustrated, where we focus on South Dakota State wrestling. This podcast is sponsored by Drake's Place of Bowdle and Culver's of Brookings and Watertown. Once again, I'm joined by my co-host, Jordon Schoenrock, and I'm excited to have our special guest, national runner-up, Tanner Sloan. Tanner, Jordon, how you guys doing?
I'm doing good. Tanner, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Thanks for coming on, my friend.
No problem. Excited to chat some wrestling with you guys.
It's been a month, yeah? A little over a day.
Yeah, a month and a day, yeah.
A month and a day.
Yeah.
Not that I was counting.
Yeah, who's counting?
I'm sure it never ends for you, though. Oh, sorry.
Have you been back on the mat a lot, Tanner, since then?
Yeah, so last week I started lifting heavy. No, 2 weeks ago I started lifting. Last week, lifting just drill, and then this week, full go.
You got some freestyle and Greco stuff coming up here pretty soon?
Yeah, my plan for freestyle is senior trials at 92 kilos, which is down a weight from what I've been wrestling. And that'll take place May 20th, Colorado Springs.
Yeah, because 97 kilos, what you were, is what, 218 pounds?
213.
13. Yep. Sorry. My math was going in my head. Yep. So like when you wrestled the U23 last year, that guy looked bigger than you. Was he? Did you cut after?
I think, I didn't really cut. No, I was probably weighing 215 to 220 before that.
I mean, I meant to come back to 197.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I think the highest I got was like 220. So, I mean, 23 pounds is, I mean, you can think of it as a cut, but once you get down there, it's not a big deal. So, but yeah, no, 92 kilos is the plan this summer for seniors. And that'll be 202, 203.
202.8, I guess. But
yep. So
you get to go out and see Meredith for that?
I'd assume she's there, yeah, because she's the new USA national team stuff. So I believe so.
Be nice to have a familiar face, I suppose.
Yeah, Cody's going with me, so me and him, and I assume Damien. So I'm not sure if my parents are making the trip. I haven't even talked to him about it.
Where is it this year?
This one's Colorado Springs.
Okay.
So. But then you win that, then it's Final X, and I don't know where that's at.
That's what I meant, I guess. But
yeah, I don't know where Final X is. I haven't really looked that far ahead.
one tournament at a time, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was the week we got back from nationals. We were discussing, okay, am I going to do the Senior Open, which is in a week or week and a half? And if I am, what weight am I going? And then it's just like, all right, well, we already qualify for 92 kilos for the senior trials in May. So I wanted a little more time off. So that's kind of the decision we decided to make, me and Cody. And so that's why we're going to hit the one in May instead of 2 weeks here.
Serbia, Belgrade, Serbia.
That's where seniors are?
Final X, yeah, that's what it says. Senior World Championships, so.
Yep.
There you go.
Got to win a few matches first, but trials and then Final X, and then I guess Serbia.
Sounds warm. Honestly, I don't think it's much different than here, though.
Yeah. But
so is that all freestyle then?
Yep. I'll be all freestyle for the next 2 months, 3 months. So just kind of depends how I end up here in May, and then go from there.
Nice. So let's jump in here, talking a little bit about your postseason. You know, you had a great regular season, went 20-something, I think, and only lost one time all regular season. Mm-hmm. Got into the postseason there and just kind of talk about the conference tournament a little bit here first.
Yeah, so Big 12s is, it's my 5th year, so it's a familiar place. Going into the fourth round here, I felt pretty darn good, making the finals for the 3rd time, and I knew the finals was going to be a tough one. We've wrestled twice before. We split, and I knew it was going to be a challenge more so at the Big 12s, just because it was an 8-hour weigh-in. And I'm pretty sure he cuts a decent amount of weight. So that one, the finals match, was kind of a little fire under me, because it was not exactly how I wanted it to go, losing 1-0 in triple overtime. So just kind of gave me a little fire. I was healthy going in, healthy coming out, which is huge. And then just kind of gave me that 10 days before nationals to really fine tune and make a good run.
So, in the conference in the Big 12s, you got the number 1 seed, which, if anybody remembers, we had Damien on before, and he kind of talked about he didn't know where you were going to be seated. You could be seated anywhere between 1 and 3. I got a text message here, so we're going to take a second to break here.
Okay.
The Final X is in New Jersey, and Worlds are in Belgrade, Serbia. Yep.
Yeah. Finals are in New York City, I guess.
New Jersey, yep.
New Jersey. Well, yeah, they're kind of the same place, but I was talking about World Finals. So
yeah.
Sorry for whoever I upset.
Hey, we got a USA team member person that watches now, obviously.
Well, now she could comment that, all you gotta do is beep boop and the beep booper down in the bottom there, and I'll put your comments up.
Thank you, Meredith, for that.
Glad to have you watching. She's been on here before. She knows what I know. Not much.
Yep. You go to the Big 12s seated number 1. Were you kind of surprised to see that seeding, or is that kind of what on the inside you thought you were going to get?
I was kind of expecting that, but I wasn't going to be shocked if it wasn't, because you just don't know how things play out with the seedings and stuff like that. But I was kind of anticipating that, and at the end of the day, it's just a number. Like, I didn't wrestle to my seed; I got 2nd. So it doesn't really matter, but just kind of sets the tournament up. The Oklahoma State kid kind of, I don't know if you want to say the bracket buster or the seed buster, because he beat Elam and I've never wrestled Elam. So it kind of just, that's kind of how it played out. And in my head, it made the most sense. So
do you think if you would have gotten past that tiebreaker, do you think you would have gotten a little more respect in nationals than 7?
I could see going up a couple. Yeah.
So
maybe
5.
Yeah, 5. But the situation and the position in the bracket was probably the best I could ask for.
Yep.
And
agreed.
Yeah. To be the best, you got to beat them all, right?
Exactly.
100%. But once you got past Truex, that was that was quite the moment.
That was the ticket. Yep. It's a lot easier wrestling on the front side as long as you can.
Well, you can't get to the championship match without staying there. So
yep, exactly.
I gotta say, one of my favorite of your Big 12 matches had to be the major decision over Oklahoma State's Luke Serber. I mean, you dominated that kid in Brookings, but nobody wanted to really give you respect, and then you go win that semifinals match 12-1 and know that you completely set yourself up for Rocky. How did that feel going in? Because your semifinals match was the first day, right? Or is that in the morning?
Yep.
Yep.
So the first day was first round quarterfinals in the morning, and then semifinals that Friday or Saturday night, and then Sunday was just placing in finals. So Rocky was just on Sunday. But go ahead.
When you had Rocky on Sunday, I've always kind of wondered this, as for college kind of stuff. You guys weigh in all in the morning, right? No
Yes.
matter what time you wrestle.
So don't quote me, but it was 9 or 10 in the morning, and we didn't wrestle till the finals match. Like everyone weighs in, and then the placings go, the consi semis and the 5th, 6th, 3rd, 4th place matches go right after that 2-hour weigh-in. And then the finals are that night, which was, I mean, I think they started at 8 and I was the 4th or 5th match. So it was 9:30 before I wrestled, 9 o'clock. So, I mean, it was a good 8-10 hours waiting.
So isn't that one of the upcoming rule changes we were looking at, Jordan? That 2 hours prior with a
it's going to be 2 hours no matter what.
Yeah,
right. Now it's only 1 hour for a dual.
Right. That's what I was.
They're changing the duels to 2 hours.
Oh, they're looking at it.
Yeah.
But so like going into that match against Rocky, like you can pretty much throw out any weight cutting or like pretty much even weighing in, I would guess.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, you can eat and drink as much as you want to feel good and not have to weigh in the next day. Oh. You know, the national tournament's the same way for the finals.
So like a state tournament.
You weigh in that morning, and then I didn't wrestle till that night. So you had all day to rehydrate and eat and feel good and not have to worry about a weigh-in the next day. So,
what do you normally do after your weigh-ins? Are you a carbo load guy or?
Before like a 2-hour weigh-in or like a finals, like
like the finals, I guess.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, I got my electrolytes in me. I got my fruits and peanut butter and stuff like that right away. Then we had some meals catered in, so it was like potatoes and eggs, some bacon, some kind of protein and stuff. So that's kind of what my meals looked like for the Big 12s and nationals. Maybe go to lunch, get a decent lunch, a warm meal or something like that, and then just kind of good snacks throughout the day, making sure I was hydrated.
Sure. Well, it's important, as I'm sure you know.
What were your nerves like going into that finals match against Rocky and the Big 12s? Like throughout the day, like having to sit for so long.
I mean, it's just like an anticipated, like, I'm ready to go. Let's get this thing going. But I wasn't like super nervous. I was confident. It just, you know, it kind of sucks just waiting all day. I watched my teammates, you know, Clay get third and some of those other DeVos get third and stuff like that. It just kind of keep me somewhat busy and not mentally thinking about my match and mentally wearing myself out. So just kind of doing something to keep me kind of busy, but not where I'm exerting a ton of energy. After that placing round, Cody and I went and got some lunch. Just kind of got away from the environment, stuff like that.
So then you head to the national. You come home for your 10 days or whatever and get prepped for the national tournament. You find out you get the 7th seed to head into the national tournament. What was your thought when you got the 7th seed and seen the bracket?
First thought was, dang, I got this kid second year in a row, first round from Ohio State. And it like kind of pissed me off. But at the same time, it's like, I know I'm better than this kid. So now it's time to prove it. And so that was my initial thought. I was like, wow, this kind of sucks. At the same time, it's like, what better matchup could I ask for? Like, it's hard to beat me that many times in a row. And especially with how I've been feeling this year. But yeah, I was kind of expecting anywhere from 4 to 8 range. You know, I thought it was really going to be a 6 just in my head, but I didn't think too much of it. And then 7 was, I mean, it was fine. I mean, it's kind of exactly what we wanted to have Hoffman first. And then that Cornell kid that Damian had a previous, before he came to SDSU, kind of relationship just because he's a Jersey kid and ended up at Cornell before Damian left or right around that time. And then Truax, he's a 84-pounder really.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, nothing to take away from him. He was stronger than I anticipated, but it was just a matchup for the way I was feeling.
Yeah,
So
there was
then,
some there were some interesting things in that match, I think. Like, wasn't that oh, never mind. That wasn't the match I was thinking of. Elon match was more interesting even yet. How that all played out with the
Yeah.
our coach throwing the brick, hitting him in the head, getting the brick back, throwing it back out there. Like shortly thereafter, you guys were on. I think you guys were on not wrestling for like 6 minutes that first period.
It seemed like a long time, and I keep giving Damien crap because he threw the brick too late with the rules that
Yes.
are set. And I told him, I was like, you should have thrown it earlier. I had the takedown. He goes, I know, but I thought you were gonna score the takedown anyways. And so he was. I keep giving him crap. It's like, well, it might have been a little different. I could have got the first takedown, but no, it ended up working out. I mean, he ends up getting a takedown of the deal. I get an escape or a lock.
And you got the
escape.
locked hand point
Yeah.
and an escape, which ended up being a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
I mean,
two, yeah. And I knew as soon as he locked his hands, like the coaches, like I kind of made like eye contact with him, and they saw it just as like I was looking up, and they were already throwing it. So I was like, well, I should be getting this one. And like the camera view, and I was up far enough to where they could probably see it. So that one I don't think took near as long as the first challenge because I think it was more.
Yeah, it was much faster.
Yeah.
how do you
Still
get
kind
your?
of I was just gonna say, still kind of a funny way to start out a match in the first period.
Yeah,
Gets you out of the rhythm
like
a bit.
3 minutes, and it takes 10 to wrestle 3 minutes.
How do you get your rhythm going in a match like that where there's challenges and?
Yeah, well, especially against a guy like him, like he bled a lot. He didn't bleed once in the Big 12s, but he bled, a lot in that semifinal match. And so, I would like to keep the pace a little higher and continue to wrestle because he gets tired. But with those breaks, it was just like you said, you got to find a rhythm and just to like block out all the external stuff and just focus on whistle to whistle. And that's, ultimately when it was going in the second period and he chose bottom, I was like, all right, this is where the match is going to be won because he's not going to probably bleed as much, and I got to take something away and find a way to score, and it'd be a much different outcome like it ended up being.
So when you got that arm tilt and the 4 back points, which was huge, did you know at that point all you had to do is like continue to wrestle, but like you had scored the points, enough points to win is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I knew when that second period ended, and I knew it was my choice going into the third. I said, in my head, I was like, there's no way this kid's going to beat me. I'm too dialed in. I'm too focused to give up a silly 4-point move or a takedown and too near fall and lose this match. And how tired he was in that match versus the Big 12 match, I knew he didn't have enough to get me. And I had a significant amount of energy left in me too riding someone like that's way easier than trying to get a takedown or trying to get out from bottom. So
yeah, it really did look, I had in my notes, it did look like the whole third period he was just completely gassed.
And I thought he would cut me sooner. Yeah, I thought he would cut me sooner and try to get a couple takedowns, but he just tried to ride me and try to go for a turn or something. And I don't watch film and I don't know much about kids. That's Cody's job, but I knew he wasn't going to turn me. Like, he's not a turner. He's not a pinner. So like you kind of know that kind of stuff going in. It's like, this kid's not going to throw me or do this kind of stuff. So yeah, I knew when he wasn't going to cut me, I was like, well, you're just going to ride me out to lose by 4 points. That doesn't make sense.
Right.
But,
well, it seemed like, that match went a lot better and was, I hate to say easier than the one previous, but kind of, right? Once you got those 4 points.
The second and third period were much easier. Yeah. And actually, really, the whole match in general was a much different match, I guess, compared to that quarterfinal one.
I know that me from an outsider looking in, and I've seen you wrestle now for 5 years, and I know you pretty personal there. In my eyes, I thought that as long as you didn't get rode out, you were going to beat Rocky in the NCAA tournament. Did you kind of have that same game plan / mentality?
Yeah, it was get an escape under a minute of riding time or get a takedown. And I knew in that first period when he came at me a different way than he did in the Big 12s, I knew I could get to his legs. In the Big 12s, he just kind of posted up, and I couldn't get – I mean, he's really long. He's really tall. And I couldn't get through his arms to get to his legs. And then in that national tournament, I could get through his arms to get to his legs. So I knew that I was going to get a takedown regardless if it was that takedown that Han should have thrown the brick on earlier or in the third period when I needed one.
Yeah, when you got that what was kind of like a try pull and you had that real deep shot in the third there. That was a great takedown, really. And you made a little news with your "Hope it's Elam" comment earlier. In the match before. That was kind of fun, because he was like, well, yeah, we've had some good exchanges. So
the funny thing, or I mean, funny or whatever, I mean, just speaking into existence, is I was walking the halls after the Big 12 match and I was pissed. And Han comes up to me and goes, "You're going to have that kid in the semifinals to make the national tournament." And like, at the moment when you're pissed, you're like, yeah, okay, whatever, coach. And then when the brackets come out, it's like, I mean, if this plays out the way I think it will, I mean, I'm going to have this kid to make the national finals. And then just that moment when the end of that third period, when I realized it was like, wow, coach just spoke that into existence and I'm going to the national finals, was kind of a crazy moment.
We've seen it. It's been well documented. What were the emotions like on the inside to actually finally have a national tournament that us SDSU fans know that you're capable of?
Yeah, it was, the overtime win and the quarters to make the semis and make the podium. I mean, the best way to describe it is just like a roller coaster effect of emotions. You're super high, you're super low, you're mixed feelings about stuff. It's just more the way I took the first three matches was a tunnel vision. Okay, this is what I got to do, one match at a time to accomplish my goal. And once I hit that quarterfinal match and won that overtime match, is like the stress and the release was just like weight off my shoulders, just because I was like, okay, I'm an All-American. That's the first step of my goals. And going into the next match was the same thing. It's like, okay, I've accomplished this goal. Now just go wrestle and have fun, and it'll pan out the way you want it to if I'm just wrestling. And that's kind of how it went. And that's, I guess, the whole national tournament is just have fun. If you're not having fun, you're not gonna win, I guess.
Well, it was pretty obvious, I think, in how you came off the mat in that quarterfinal. And, right to Cody. Can you talk a little bit? I know you and Cody have a pretty special relationship, and you guys probably have some goes together and stuff. Can you talk about that a little bit, having Cody there?
Yeah, so
what that means to you?
I mean, Cody's kind of been there since day one, from like a recruiting standpoint. Most people know I was recruited by the old coaching staff. Then when they left, it's kind of in the air, waiting, then heard from Damien, and then they heard Cody was staying. So kind of just already had that connection with Cody already. So it's just built from, the recruiting standpoint. And I mean, we do individuals on a weekly basis. We spend a lot of time, and he's watching film and giving me advice. And so just kind of being my go-to guy, just, whatever I need to do, whatever he tells me to do, I do. Especially this year, I've kind of just changed my mindset, because I was tired of not reaching my goal, being an All-American. And so I was just like, all right, this year it's just, you tell me what to do, I'm going to do it without no ifs, ands, buts, complaining. And ultimately, I mean, look at where it got me. So I respect Cody a lot for just pushing me through the hard times and being there on my side. And and stuff.
Yeah. Cody's great. Sorry.
And for people that don't know, or that are newer, Cody does all the traveling with you in all your summer stuff too, right?
Yep. He was my when I went to juniors in 2019, him and Damien made the trip. Cody was in my corner. And then in Spain last fall, he made the trip with me. He's been to Colorado Springs, the Olympic Training Center once with me. So, I mean, he's just kind of the guy that I travel with, I guess, or spend a lot of time with.
And
so we do have a question that came in from a listener, and Jordan, if you want to get one in, and then I'll have a follow-up about the Cody, and then we'll get to Brock's question. So
okay, so like with the whole Cody thing, I mean, it was well documented by Damien too, just how Cody's really your coach. I mean, Damien is too, and Cam and Brady are also, but Cody and you definitely have that special bond. For people that don't really know, that were listening to or just watching the stuff that went on. But what was, I mean, they're really, minus me and Chad, and I know the Collegians did a couple articles this year and stuff like that, and the Brookings paper's getting a little better. What was it like to finally get publicity on this wrestling team and then to come down onto you and Clay, and how you guys handled everything?
It feels good, right? I mean, we worked hard. The public now can see it, but it doesn't make that much of a difference to me. I'm still gonna be the person I am, whether the city of Brookings knows who I am or not. Just kind of the way I was raised, kind of the way I go about life is just one thing at a time, and not worried about as big of a name as I can make it, just to, do the things that I'm set out in front of me. And, if kids come up to me on the street, like, they know who I am, and I'd take pictures with them. And I love doing that just to grow the sport of wrestling. Right. But, and like I was that kid one day too, or one time, seeing collegiate wrestlers on the street or at a duel or something and wanting a signature, like, but yeah, I mean, the publicity doesn't mean a lot to be super known. But it is nice to be kind of recognized.
So one follow-up on the recruiting thing. Is it true you were real close to going to College, and was it Cody that reached out? Is that what changed that and brought you to SCSU?
So,
can you talk a bit how that all happened?
My high school coach wrestled for and so I just had that connection just because he wrestled there. I didn't really have a lot of options at the time, just because, I mean, I wasn't heavily recruited by Division I schools. I was still playing football. And they reached out. I went on a visit. The only thing that held me up for as long as it did was just the academic side of things. Like, there was, besides SDSU, there wasn't a school that hit home with the academics. And so that was probably the biggest reason why I didn't go to and then I think it was late January, Bono or Reader, I guess it was Reader, reached out to me. I think through a contact through football or something, because my football coach was talking to the football coaches here about me possibly playing football here. And then I made the decision to wrestle. And then I'm not sure if the transition from football to wrestling, they got my contact and that's how they contact me. But that's kind of what like started that connection here, I guess. And then just the visit after the high school season, and seeing that the campus and just having agriculture related academics was basically a shoe-in.
Sure. So Brock Gulseth, one of our listeners, he's heavy into wrestling. He asked this question. He says, I'd like to get your take on where you feel the program is going and how great the program could be. With a great coaching staff, guys like you being a nationally known hammer, and the new facilities, I feel like Brookings is becoming a place that kids will really look at as far as one of the better programs in the nation.
Yeah, for sure. I think the better days are ahead, obviously, and I'm sad that I won't be a part of it, but I'm happy that can do what I can do to help build this program. Damien's worked extremely hard and fundraising and getting this facility, and just kind of the culture that he has brought with the coaching staff has led us to our season that we had this past year and what's to come. So for sure the future is bright. The facility helps. Results like this past season's helping. I think I seen something that we're pre-ranked around 10. That's a pretty solid ranking for as big of a university as we are. We had Clay and I as All-Americans. We had 2 in the blood round. I mean, that goes a long ways in just kids seeing where the program's going.
So, with your little talk there, we're going back 5 years here for a minute. When you came in 5 years ago and Damien really sold this program to you guys, and your class had to buy in.
So we were kind of, part of us were Damien's recruit. I think Clay was actually Damien's first solo recruit. And then, I was kind of recruited by the old coaching staff, but I wasn't signed. So Damien kind of got me a little bit there too, or mainly kind of Damien and Cody. But yeah, my class was, Damien's first year. So, we were the people to help develop, because the other kids were, they had 2 years, 1 year left. That was just to kind of get us young guys transitioned, and then it just kind of waterfall effect. We're getting like kids like DeVos in the next year. For a while our team was really young. I'd have to go down and look now, but I think we're starting to. Clay and I are the oldest 2 coming in next year, so just kind of paving the path is kind of how Clay and I've what we've done, I guess, just as a buying in process to the program.
And how does it feel that you guys buying in 5 years ago? I know you and Clay both of you guys haven't achieved your ultimate goal, but you guys have achieved huge goals that you guys have set out for. How does that feel to know that it's actually paying off and Damien wasn't just filling you guys full of horse?
Right. Yeah. That goes back to the system that Damien's kind of created with the coaching staff. Each of us have our own individualized coach. Obviously everyone knows that Cody's mine. Clay spent a lot of time with Cam, and now he's, we got Brady in here now, so he's spending some time with the smaller coach. But just what each coach is like coaching us, builds our confidence and our wrestling abilities. And that this kind of goes to show for these younger kids, when they first come in, it's all new. They're not used to individualized coaches, we do individuals once a week towards the end of the season, where we're working on things that the starters need personally. And so that's kind of helped build the system, and these kids are seeing okay, and they're working at it. They're working hard. They're getting more individual times in. And I think that's just a big part of developing the kids, and that's kind of Damien's system is more one-on-one towards the end of the season to build those kids and peak them for what ultimately matters in March.
So we got another question here. Shane Rentz wrote in and said, what team did you want to compete against the most? Team, wrestler? Who were you looking forward to the most?
Okay, so as in a duel, is that what he's meaning?
I think so.
Yep.
Okay. it's fun beating NDSU, right?
Sure
they're,
is.
they're rivals. But my ultimate one that I've been kind of setting out is the Oklahomas. They're
Sure.
big powerhouse Big 12 schools. We can do it, man. I mean, we got the kids, we got the work ethic. Just got to have it in our favor.
Yeah.
And
Those are really close duels this year, and I have some opinions on them. But.
we do like goal meetings with the coaches at the beginning of the year. Each kid gets a sheet that the coaches print out, and it lists goals, individual goals on the mat, off the mat, and then a set of team goals. And my team goal is, Big 12 champs. I mean, dual champs. And you just look at it on paper of how we can compete against schools within the Big 12. And man, the last 2 years we're right there. Oklahoma State, we're both, a swing match away, and that puts us in it for a Big 12 dual team champion.
Yeah, that atmosphere up in NDSU. Did you like that? I thought it was pretty cool, and coaches seemed to like it too. So.
Yeah. I guess anything they can do to try to beat us. I like that atmosphere. A little smaller, people kind of on top of you. I don't mind their actual other facility either. I think that's a pretty,
the Shields.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty nice arena as well. But no, I mean it was fun.
So heading into next year, the guy that beat you, he's done and gone. So you're the number one favorite, I would say, or the new target. How are you going to handle that pressure since you've kind of been a kid to slide under the radar in the last couple of years?
To be honest, I'll probably still be that kid that has to be under the radar. No one's probably going to expect me to do what I did, which is fine. I don't really care. But I mean, just consistency, wrestling like I wrestled the last 2.5, 3 months of this season, and just building on it and getting better. A new goal of mine, for the next year would be, Hodge Trophy, right? Be dominant. I made it to the national finals. Just came up a little short, but why not win it? Why not win a Hodge Trophy? So if I'm got the mindset of, being the most dominant, these, it could take care of itself. And, if I don't win the Hodge Trophy, but I win a national title, like it's a little trade-off. But I mean, if I'm focused on being a Hodge Trophy winner, I'm going to score a lot of points, and that's going to put me ultimately at the top of the podium.
And you'll probably end up, if you get a Hodge, you'll probably end up a national champion anyway.
Yep.
And so to that, you're really good at your takedowns, and your coach has told you many times that if you get on someone's legs, you can score. So it's going to be a lot of that, right? You're going to be a lot of shooting.
Yeah, maybe more cutting out of me this year.
Yeah. So you're coming back this next year, and that's your last season, right? Because of COVID, you get this extra year.
Yeah.
Maybe talk a little bit about how strange that was to go. You're going to have nationals in Minneapolis. It was a real bummer, but probably turned out to be a good thing, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, there's positive and negatives to both ways you look at it, but I mean, it gives me another year here. I get to go to grad school now, so I'm going to get a master. Hopefully, the plan is to get a master degree. So I mean, that's a positive out of it. I wasn't thinking about going any further than this year. So academically, it worked out. But yeah, I mean, I get a chance to use this new facility for a year and train in one of the best environments you can ask for. That's positive out of the deal. I always joke around that I'm getting old, but I'm really not that old. So, I mean,
wait till you're 40 plus.
But no, I'm excited that it's given this opportunity. Being a 4-time All-American's out of the question, being a 3 times out of the question, but now it's can be a 2-time international champ. So That's the goal.
And a Hodge.
And a Hodge. Yep.
And you're a 4-time national qualifier right now, right?
Yep.
So you'll be one of the few that can say that you were a 5-time qualifier ever.
Yep.
That'll be pretty cool for you, and hopefully next year.
Yeah, and hopefully get a Big 12 title in the deal too, you know.
I just didn't remember if you were healthy going into that COVID year or not. So
yeah, I was wrestling pretty well that year. You know, I had a few bangs and bruises, but I mean, everyone's got those, and I was healthy. Besides this year, that year was probably the next healthiest I was.
Okay, sure. Was the year before that you had the kind of health issues then?
The year after,
okay.
When COVID started late.
After, yeah.
Tore my labrum and stuff. So I had shoulder issues last year.
So this summer, your plan is you're doing obviously you're doing the USA Wrestling stuff. We already talked about that, but tell me a little bit about this Train Like a Norseman camp, if you could.
Yeah, so I guess that was the first camp I accepted to do, and that was before the national tournament. And so I had a connection through the guy that helps run it reach out to me, and I was like, sure. So I don't know a lot about it. I never went to that camp, but I'm pretty excited because that was kind of the first one I accepted. Then since nationals is over, I think I've got 12, 13, 14 camps now. People keep texting, you know, every other week. I'm getting a couple more. So the summer's gonna be busy. Plans, you know, train here, drive to camps, do that kind of stuff most of the summer. So
yeah, because that's down basically Des Moines area, right?
It's Iowa Minnesota border. So
okay.
Decorah, yeah. So it's like 2.5 hours from home. So
yeah,
or just under 2.5 hours. So
Decorah's gorgeous. It's really pretty. They got some really good beer there. It's kind of a weird spot, but I'm sure you're not into the beer if you're trying to keep healthy. So
yeah.
So, and you can say pass on this question if you don't want to answer. That's perfectly fine. But I mean, the world we live in nowadays, and it was very well documented that Tucker Kraft got many phone calls last year and NIL deals. Any other schools try and reach out with NIL deals or anything like that to you after the national tournament?
Not really. We won't go into that, but
okay, sounds fair.
Yeah, not any other schools. I mean, there's rumors on Facebook and stuff. You'll see that, but there was no like school that reached out to me technically.
No matter what counts is you're going to be a Jackrabbit next year.
That's the plan. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. That's all that matters to us.
I think they'd have to take.
We cheer for you no matter where you're at.
Yeah, no, I mean, the way I look at it is this place gave me a chance. This is a place I've now call home. 5 years ago, other people had their chance. So why would I want to leave this that's built me to the wrestler I am? So that's kind of the way I look at it.
For sure.
We appreciate that. We appreciate you staying and going.
My roommate Kimball, he asked me, I don't know, an hour or so ago. He's like, Sloan, do you like Brookings more than your hometown now? I was like, kind of, Dan, I do.
Brookings is a fun town.
It is nice. Town. It's small. It's not small compared to where I'm from, but
no.
It's a good size. You know, it's a relatively, safe, city or town. Like, you don't hear of anything going on bad. There's no bad stuff happening here, and it's just it's a good place. I mean, the people and the community, it's super nice.
It's definitely a college town, and it has all the amenities a person really needs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, comparing it to my hometown, it's the same kind of community atmosphere, just on a larger scale.
And Alburnet's north of Cedar Rapids, right?
Yep, about 10, 15 minutes. Yep.
Okay.
So most of the amenities that we need, we go Cedar Rapids for.
Sure. So. I've been out that way once. So how about how nice was it to be able to have the national championship right in the same setting that you had been in, just 10 days before for the Big 12s? I mean, the familiarity with the Bach had to be kind of a nice thing that kind of had to help it in some ways, at least maybe mentally.
Yeah, as a event center standpoint, it was nice. I've been there the last 4 years for the Big 12s. People weren't sure that it was going to be big enough, I guess, but I mean, from a wrestler standpoint and an atmosphere, it was everything you could ask for. I think the people as a fan base is where it was probably not as good. Tulsa probably didn't have as good of places to go eat or things to do in that area. But I mean, as a athlete standpoint going in, knowing like how the lay of the arena was, comfortable for us, what I did like versus, previous national tournaments was, they set up these camp areas for the teams. So they had a bunch of like pop-up curtains and stuff, and they had them labeled for each team. And every other national tournament that I've been to, you just kind of try to designate an area to yourself. And it was, bigger schools took up this much room. And now this place and back in the tunnels had their own team camp. And that was really nice just as an arena standpoint.
I got to think that you've probably went back and watched your matches, right?
Actually, no.
No? Okay.
I could probably replay them in my head.
Well, yeah, probably better than I could even remember than having just watched them before.
The only parts of them that I've probably seen is just probably the little clips on like Twitter,
Sure.
social media or whatever, just the 10, 15 seconds. But
I just had a silly question because on the
ask it, Chad. Ask it.
No, I'm not gonna. No, it's not what you think. Actually, I know what you think it is, and it's not that. I think it was the quarterfinal match. They had said, you're from a small town, in Iowa, like Wade Phillips, and I was curious if you actually knew who Wade Phillips was or who he was.
No,
I wouldn't expect you to. I just happened to. He's the guy that started Phillips 66. You're probably familiar with that.
Okay, yep.
And he was, and it was buried down in Knoxville. So, fun fact for you, Jordan, about Knoxville that you did not know. No. He was very rich and donated a bunch of land to the Boy Scouts down in New Mexico. So that's how I know about him. Sorry.
No, you're
kind of like I said, it's kind of dumb. The other thing, if you wanna, you can point it out, Jordan. That's
so Chad sent me this video today, and you know what? I'm just
this video. Yeah,
you got it pulled up.
Oh, you want me to pull it up? I can pull it up.
No, I'm just gonna. If anybody watches this at the 17:56 mark of the very end of the Rocky Elam match, right? In the semis, the match gets over, and it's the YouTube videos ending or the ESPN clips ending, and somebody yells, "Thank you for leaving," or something like that, Bono.
Yeah, they literally yelled, "Thank you for leaving, Bono." And I'm guessing I kind of shot off a link to Coach and said, "This is kind of funny," I thought. So take a look and listen. So I'm sure he's not watching this, but it was kind of funny. And yeah, we don't have to dwell on it too much, but kind of funny.
What was it like to have 8 of you guys all down there for the national tournament? As in the past, we haven't got to take that many kids.
Yeah. That was, just as a team standpoint, that's fun. You got 80 or 10 buddies down there, competing all for the same goal of all Americans and national champions. And it helps kind of just feed each other, when one person wins and their emotions are high and they're winning, they're like, yeah, and then they go out there and then they win. I mean, we had a couple of rounds where we were, winning some big matches, and coming back on the backside all the way to the blood round because my buddies are doing good. Like that was a good feeling to have, and I hope next year we can have all 10. So it's just like, a dual or tournament standpoint where you have a guy wrestling each weight class, and it'll be more fun for the fans too. I think this year we had probably the most fans at the national tournament as long as I've been here. So when there's 10 SDSU guys out there, it gives the fans to watch. It makes the sessions go faster and stuff like that. So it's fun, I guess. I mean, when you're having fun and wrestling with your friends and doing well, it kind of feeds off of each other.
So we came home with a 14th place finish. Should have been 13th.
Or it could have been, 11, 12,
11,
10.
12.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we got a point deduct. So
yeah, we got a point deduct. Were you Matt's side for that when that happened?
No. So when
you were getting ready.
No, our team area, we had a computer set up that had the matches going, so we saw it on the back on the match. And
so then you heard what the ref said, probably.
I didn't hear what the ref said or anything. I just saw DeVos spiking his head gear. And I was just like,
yeah. And the ref says, man. I got to do that. He says to coach, he says, I got to do that because if I don't, they're going to get after me, and this is my job. He basically said that I have to. I'm required to deduct a team point for that.
Yeah.
Which it's kind of crap at that. I mean, it's not. It's not like he did it at the other bench, or I get
13th,
it.
14th place.
The rule's a rule.
A little more lenience, but if that's 10 or 11 spot, maybe we would have kicked him in the butt a little more and got on him. But he'll learn from it, I guess.
It didn't surprise me that we've had him on the podcast quite a few times, and he's a good kid. But also he was just excited in the moment. I don't see the harm in it, especially in a non-dual environment.
Yeah, I mean it goes. When
like Coach said, that's weak.
It's we're like one of the only sports that you can take a team point away. Like, why? Right. I mean, that's the only way I guess we can be penalized or something. Football, you get a flag and you lose some yardage or something, but still keep your points. But I don't make the rules. I just go by them, I guess.
So that is a good leadway into something here. This will probably all be news for Tanner here, but Flo released an article today that there's 14 proposals that passed. The coaches now have will have 2 weeks to submit their feedback to the NCAA panel, and then June 8th they'll do their discussion and vote to see if these rules are going to go in. We'll just touch on some of these.
I seen right before I got on, I saw probably the same article you looked at. I saw a handful, 4, 5, 6 of them. And
yep.
Glad I have 1 year left in that aspect because rules just keep changing. But
starting with a takedown will be worth 3 points next year.
Yeah.
Riding time.
That's the one. These are the ones they're voting on, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So none of these are official yet. They're just voting, or like the coaches have their time now to say their things. Mm-hmm. This is one that I think will fall into your favor. Here, riding time will only be a point if the kid churns the other kid for a near fall.
So they're saying if I have over a minute of riding time but no back points, I don't get the riding time.
If you don't,
0 points. Which, I mean, so that's the point of the 3-point takedown and the ride time rule here, as far as I see, is to keep people from just riding people out. Kind of have a little more action, like freestyle. The past discussion about these changes.
Eventually, I feel like college is just going to change to freestyle.
Well, it's possible.
But
yeah, and then they're voting to bring back the 3-point back points.
See that. I do agree with that one. Like, you get 2 near fall for 2 back or 2 count, 3 for 3 count, 4 for 4 count. I mean, that makes sense.
Yep. Then there's some stuff about
the challenge rule. Is that one that they voted on yet?
Yeah, the challenge rule's in here too.
If they get to that one, I mean, that one's, the match I'm thinking of is the Elam match. If for an example, if Han threw the brick when he did with this new rule, then I probably would have got 2, and then it would have been a reversal 2, so it would have been 2 and 2 that way. Or where it was too late, so it was like, I think it was a warning for control of area or something like that. Or
what they say is video review would provide the referee with the authority to confirm or overturn all calls or missed calls during a video review challenge sequence rather than a single move.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the one you're talking about, right?
Yep. So like the Elam match would have been that whole sequence versus just where they challenged my takedown, but he let it play out too long to where the challenge didn't.
I still think it's funny he hit him in the head with a brick. I know it's soft and it doesn't matter, but every time I see it bounce off Elam's head, it makes me chuckle. It's like, great aim, coach. And you know it was Damien that threw it.
Oh yeah.
It definitely wasn't Cody.
So and then this is the one that I don't agree with. And maybe I'm understanding this the wrong way, but the current mandatory 5-second count for waist and ankle rides would include all situations in which the top wrestler grasps the bottom wrestler's ankle. How are we supposed to do our famous SDSU bow and arrow cradle if you can't grab the guy's ankle for more than 5 seconds?
Yeah. So exactly what you said. I don't know the clarification exactly on this rule, but go ahead.
Can I time out for a second? Ryan Gronowski, I don't know if you know who he is. He's a huge SDSU fan because his brother's the quarterback, but I was wondering if maybe you give him a shout out. He's a Special Olympian and quite the awesome dude. Maybe say hi to Ryan.
Yeah. Hey Ryan, thanks for watching. Maybe you can get to a duel this winter and we'll get to meet you there.
That'd be awesome. So back into it. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that out there quick.
I've watched like a 4-minute video of what Flo posted, so I don't know exactly the rule change and concern, and I guess that's not going to be my biggest priority until it changes. But the riding the ankle rule, I mean, for me how I ride the ankle, I don't feel like I'm abusing it to just ride and stall where some people kind of do. So I mean, can kind of hurt me a little bit, or same time, exactly what you said, Jordan, like how are we going to get to a bow and arrow if, I mean, that's about one of the only ways you can get to that. So
I would think that'd be a great thing for a coach to write in, like, if it's part of a move, like, if you're actually doing something with it, potentially you get a little more, I don't know, time in the process. Cause like, so say you're trying to set up the bow and arrow, you get into it, you get 5 seconds to do something with it. If you ain't started to turn the guy, then you got to let off. But if you start turning the guy, then do we stop the count because it, it becomes something more than just an ankle ride?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a coach.
I guess exactly either am I.
And I feel like these come out every year. There's a million rules that they come up with. That's their job. And I feel like a lot of these get shut down, but it's just a good kind of to touch on a little bit.
One of the newer rules, when I was coming in was the hands of the face deal. If you touched anywhere in this triangle, it was automatic point, and I think that got taken out of hand a little bit. I mean, it's wrestling, it's physical, I'm gonna hit you in the face on accident sometimes, but now I think it's more up to the ref. If the kid's just constantly doing it, then you ding him for a point. But that rule kind of changed over the last 5 years too. So who knows where these new ones, if they get passed, how they'll change. But
and this one I think is going to be a real good rule for you change if we see it is the facial hair rule, which limited wrestlers to beards of no longer than a half inch in length. It's going to be eliminated. You can just have, full beard.
Oh, I don't
like Abe Lincoln.
I don't even think they really looked at that to begin with. There's kids out there with
I know.
The kid that reminds me the most, I don't even know his name to be honest, but it was the Northwestern like 25, 33 pounder. That dude always had a full beard and was like coming out of his chin cup. I was like, what do we have that rule for if he doesn't have to trim it? So
yeah. I think it's one of those things where, like, if you choose to have long hair or long facial hair and it gets kind of pulled on, not in an intentional way, that's
Well, that's your own
part
fault
of
having a beard.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. That's your own fault, man. Like,
yeah. Just like
part of
that
the
the
game.
hairnet thing. That's gone too, or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
You see kids with long hair,
Ponytails and stuff. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So, did you ever get a chance to wrestle with AJ much? I mean, he's one of my favorite wrestlers too. I'm more of a top weight guy because I'm a fat kid myself. But and you definitely don't fall into that. Neither does he. But that's what I wrestled as a pudge when I wrestled. So,
Yeah,
you get a chance to wrestle with him much?
yeah. I wrestled, in the summers when I was bigger. When I got mid season, I tried to avoid wrestling him because I'm closer to weight and had to lose a few pounds. And
Sure.
AJ's a big dude. He's not fat by any means.
No,
but he's a big dude, and
yeah,
he's strong. And if I had to roll around with him, I would. Every once in a while. When I was training for Worlds back in like September, I wrestled with him a decent amount just because I was 215, 220, and he was 250. So I mean that's 30 pounds versus when I'm down to 250 pounds it was a big difference.
Oh yeah, definitely.
30 pounds is still a lot, but
yeah, I'm gonna miss that guy. That's for sure. I really
Yeah.
liked watching. He was really quick and wrestled, more like a 97 pounder, I'd say.
Exactly, yeah.
Or an athletic. There's not that many real athletic guys at that level. It seems. The top guys usually are, but
he'll definitely he'll be missed. There'll be some shoes to fill, but the direction this program's going, it should be all right.
Yeah, maybe Mason Paris will come transfer down. He might actually graduate. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's done. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he is done.
They, I gotta give you, and I think we're gonna set up a podcast with Clay Hare pretty soon too, and have him on to talk. But you guys both just for not having a PR team around and having Damien as our PR person, let's say. I know Cam does a lot of it and Brady does a lot of it and stuff like that. But you guys are just so well spoken and well put together in all your guys' interviews. And I want to give you guys props to that. In the NCAA tournament, you and Clay just killed your interviews, and that was great to see.
Yeah, thank you. How often do I get to take Kimball down? Oh, he tries to avoid me as much as possible. I'm just kidding. I think I've
no scraps in the house.
No, not usually. I know we're 5 weight classes apart.
Yeah.
The last time I wrestled Kimball, I don't remember what time frame it was, but we were, we both didn't have a partner. I'm pretty sure it was freestyle. Probably freestyle. That's probably why we were wrestling, because, why not just screw around and have fun? And the mats were slippery, and I had his leg up, single leg, and, I can kind of muscle him here. Well, he slipped, and his knee was pointing straight to the ceiling, and I slipped at the same time, and his knee jabbed me right in the ribs, kind of right in the floater ribs. And that was the last time I wrestled Kimball because he's tried to hurt me all the time. I tell him. But no, that was a couple years ago, and man, did that hurt, and I was sore for a while.
You guys live fairly close campus, or are you guys a ways away?
We're kind of on the south end by the nature park.
Okay.
On the Bluegill Ave here. So,
yeah.
I mean, there's our whole streets. I mean, the one side's all college kids in these townhomes or duplexes or whatever. So it's not bad. I mean, one end of town to the other side of town is only 10 minutes. So it's it's not a big deal. But
Jordan's getting tired, it looks like. That's the second yawn I've been counting. Jordan, you have anything left for our guest here that you want to touch on?
No, I don't think so. A couple other things I just want to touch on for our listeners. is, I don't know, some people have Tanner Cook on social media, stuff like that. He did have surgery last week. I talked to him. He's good. Everything's going well there. And then, unfortunately, in this time and age, Roman Gotska, or however you say that,
Rogatsky.
and Jack Thompson have both entered the transfer portal. So we want to wish them the best of luck if they're not back next year. And that's just kind of the life we're in right now. But I think that's it for big news for this.
Yeah, Cook, I mean, I got to give it to him. He's tough. He had surgery Friday in the morning, and he
back
was
surgery, just so everybody knows.
Yeah, he was at practice, walking around, watching us practice. I mean, gosh, that's gonna be pretty tough. I don't know how well I'd be feeling.
It's gonna take him a second to read that, Brock.
No, I know what he's talking about. You know, keeping his boy entertained. No, it's fun having you guys down there.
Well, what do you say? How about a get jacked on 3?
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Get jacked.